everybody, it's Roxy. I am so excited to have you here today for the summer series that we are going to go into for the next few weeks. We are actually going to highlight the books that we have in our racial justice library. So if you haven't been here yet, it is right outside of the sanctuary doors, right where one of the restrooms are. And there's a ton of books that you and your family are welcome to come and rent out just like a library. You'll just come in, look at what the books are, and then complete this form of what books you rented out, and then the date that you checked out, and when you bring them back, then you just write that you checked it back in. And as part of that, I wanted to focus on these book series that we have. A kid's book about empathy is what we'll read today. But we also have, for the next few weeks, a kid's book about belonging, about being inclusive, about anxiety, about diversity, about racism, about being non-binary, and being transgender. And we're just going to work our way through these books and take a little break on the Godly Play because these topics are all really, really important, and we hope that it generates a lot of really good conversation. So let's get started. A kid's book about empathy by Darren K. Roberts. You might be wondering if this book is important. Guess what? It's the most important book ever. No, seriously. Ever. Now you might be asking yourself, if a kid's book about empathy is so important, what is empathy? Let me take you back to the 3rd grade. In Miss White's class, there were 23 students. A lot of the kids in the class looked like me, kinky hair and brown skin. But then in the 4th grade, only one other kid looked like me. Can you guess how I felt? What do you think? How would you feel if you were the only kid that looked like you in your class? If you said out of place, unsure, and scared, you'd be right. Does my story remind you of an experience you've had? Has anything like that ever happened to you? How did you feel? That's what empathy is. Empathy is when you stand in someone else's shoes, not their real shoes. That would be gross. It's when you feel with someone who is experiencing something that's hard, sad, or scary. Empathy means you listen, don't judge, feel with, and ask questions. You might think that sounds a lot like sympathy, but the two couldn't be more different. Sympathy is when you feel for someone. Sympathy sounds like, I feel sorry for you. That stinks. I can't believe that happened. Empathy is when you feel with someone. Empathy sounds like, how did that make you feel? What can I do to help? Do you want to talk about it? And empathy can even sound like silence. Just being there with someone can be the most powerful thing in the world. Can you see the difference between sympathy and empathy? Sympathy is easy and takes the shortcut. It might seem like it helps, but most of the time it doesn't. Empathy is hard and takes more time, but it also creates comfort and connection. Sympathy is usually about you, and empathy is always about someone else. So how do you do this empathy thing? Well, Let's say your best friend's dog dies and they tell you at lunch the next day. What should you do? First, take a deep breath. Don't be in a rush to tell them how you feel. Take the time to think about how they feel. First, thinking. Second, listen. You don't have to do all the talking. It's okay to let them share. I know it's hard, but you can do it. Focus on your friend first. Third, ask questions. Find out what they're thinking and feeling. Don't judge them or assume anything. Make sure you use more question marks than periods in what you say. Fourth, imagine. Maybe the exact same thing happened to you, or maybe you've never had a dog. Try to imagine and put yourself in their shoes to feel what they feel. That is empathy. 1, take a breath. 2, listen. 3, ask questions. 4, imagine. When you do those things, you will feel with someone instead of for them, which is exactly what you want when something is hard, sad, or scary. And make sure, no matter what, you don't try to fix them. This isn't about you and how you can make things better. It's about just feeling with them. Because empathy is the most courageous and creative thing that you can do. I wonder, what are ways that you have shown empathy? Maybe this past week you showed empathy somewhere or to someone. I wonder what that moment looked like. I wonder if there are ways that you can, 1, take a breath, 2, listen, 3, ask questions, and 4, imagine. I wonder if Jesus did this. I wonder if you can think about stories in the Bible where you know that Jesus did this, where Jesus just sat with people and felt empathy, felt with them. I think that Jesus is one of our best role models for empathy. I hope you enjoyed this book, and I hope that if you are feeling comfortable and you're in town, that you join us on Sunday mornings for our lesson where we'll be diving into these stories and having more of conversations with each other. Thanks, have a great day.